Great, thank you. Thanks, Andrew. Good evening, everyone. Welcome all those who are joining here in the gallery and those who are joining us online, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching a recording at some point in the future. Welcome to the monthly council meeting here at the City of Summerside for July 21st, 2026 in our beautiful and historic City Hall. I'll begin by calling to order the meeting at 5:31 p.m. and I'll ask for a mover and a seconder with respect to the approval of the agenda before you this evening. So move, Councillor Adams. Second, Deputy Snow. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any changes, revisions? Seeing and hearing none, we'll proceed as follows. We begin each one of our meetings here at the City of Summerside by acknowledging that the land upon which we're gathered is Mi'kmaq territory. Abagway is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship, and we pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years past, present, and future. At this time, I'd ask any member of council to declare a conflict of interest with respect to an item on the agenda. Councillor Morrison, over to you.
I'll sit out 6A and 6B.
Thank you, Councillor. Just Madam Clerk, for the record, note Councillor Morrison will step out for 6A and 6B and recuse himself from those items. Councillor Cameron?
I will excuse myself for item 6E.
And the same for Councillor Cameron for item 6E. So I'll just leave it to the councillors to pick themselves up and walk out of the room to wherever you go. Again, I'm not quite sure where the secret green room is, but wherever it is, I hope it's enjoyable, and then we'll come and get you when we're done. Now move on to item 2, minutes. I will look for a motion to move and approve. First, we'll begin with the Planning Board meeting minutes, the minutes of Planning Board of July 7, 2026 from a member of Planning Board. So move, Councillor Trenholm. Second, Councillor Doiron. Members of Planning Board in favor with adoption of the minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, changes, revisions? Seeing and hearing none, the Planning Board meeting minutes are adopted. With respect to the following meeting minutes of the monthly council meeting of June 21st, 2026, the Committee of the Whole meeting of July 7, 2026, and the Special Council meeting of July 7, 2026. Look for a councillor to move and a councillor to second the minutes as presented in the package. So move, Councillor Morrison. Second, Councillor Cameron. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposition, changes, or revisions? Seeing and hearing none, the minutes are carried and adopted on the record. Thank you, Council. At this time, we move on to item 3, which is accolades and recognitions. Opportunity for any member of council to highlight any of the accolades recognitions here in our beautiful community over the past few weeks. Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all city staff, multiple departments, for Love's Carnival Raceway Days last weekend. It was extremely successful. Anything that I attended, everybody was really happy with, and we had changed the date, so met up with Governor's Plate, which people were very happy with, to have those two back together again. And it worked out well, even with neighboring communities having events. The timing seemed to go very well. And also just a shout out to the mural that is being painted on the side facing of the Credit Union Place facing Notre Dame Street. Anyways, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's to commemorate the 150th anniversary for harness racing in Summerside. So yeah, so I just thought it's a good time to recognize that, because it takes a lot of different departments coming together to make that work. So, and change isn't always easy, but they managed to pull it off. So.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cameron, your light was on.
I was going to say the same thing. So.
Oh, there you go. Okay, times 2. I'm sure times everyone here as well. Councillor Morrison.
Well, I'm going to tag along, and I'll just add a little bit to the being a guy that really enjoys the harness racing side of it, plus everything else. But I'd just like to point out that how amazing the racing was all week, and thank all the people involved in the Prince County Horsemen's Club and Red Shores. And I believe, and I don't have numbers in front of me, that they broke the all-time pacing record, they broke the all-time trotting record, they tied the all-time mares record. And as far as numbers, and I got to be careful saying this, but the bet for the week, I believe, was just under $1 million, which is kind of phenomenal and hard to believe that to be that much money change hands. But anyway, and just a shout out to all the people that worked so hard to make it happen, and it was a great week.
Thank you, Councillor and Councillors. With that, we'll move on to item 4. This is the public presentation petition delegation section of our monthly meeting. And we have 2 concurrent presentations here this evening and related. So I'm assuming one may flow into the other. So perhaps I will just start by welcoming up Sam McPhail, CEO of Gulf PEI, who is going to make a presentation on the, as I understand, the economic impact of the golf industry here in Prince Edward Island and the potential for the Summerside region. The second piece, and maybe we'll just get Sam to hand it off to you, Don. The second part will be the Mill River Golf Course presentation following the request for expressions of interest selection process from Mill River Golf Group. And I'll let Don at that time introduce your team and proceed to that presentation. So if everyone's okay with that, we'll just flow the first one into the second one. And over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Mayor Kuchar, and thank you to councillors for having me here today. I think it's an important topic, and I think it's an industry, and the golf industry in general is a good news story. It's not really the industry of the past, which was your grandfather's pastime. It's really something that's evolved into something much more than that, that kind of everyone can play and everyone can be involved, and the economic benefit is very clear. So I'm going to go through a few things today, kind of give you context what Golf PEI does, how it relates to everything, and then just the economic impact of golf. We're fresh off a recent study, so some good numbers to go through with that as well. As Mayor Kuchar mentioned, I'm the CEO of Golf PEI. I think another note, I'm also the Atlantic Regional Director for the National Golf Course Owners Association. Represents 1,500 golf courses Canada-wide. So I live, breathe golf and related statistics pretty much every single day. So I like to think I have a good handle on what we're about to go over today. So a little bit about Golf PEI. Our mandate really is to attract golf tourists to Prince Edward Island. That's our North Star, if you will. We obviously do a lot of other things like advocacy and marketing and other things, but the main thing is to get golf tourists to the first tee on Prince Edward Island. 2 core functions are, like I said, the marketing agency for 18 golf courses, and we also have an in-house reservation center for golf courses and our 30-plus accommodation partners. So that it's evolved into something much bigger than just your run-of-the-mill golf organization. There really isn't another version of ours in Canada. Yes, there's Golf New Brunswick and Golf Nova Scotia, but they're pretty much programming strictly. There's no marketing or guiding of sales or anything like that. So we're really unique that way. And from there, we've really become a leader in golf destination marketing, not only in Canada but across North America. So the presentation today covers how we rank really across the country, but also I think because we are such a special golf place, it's unique in its way. And actually the next slide is branding that we've refreshed to reflect leading the country in a lot of ways. So as of this spring, our new tagline is Canada's Golf Island. That's to reflect how big of a punch we pack for the golf industry across the country, but also given Canada-US relations as of late. Canadians are never prouder to support their own country, so I think positioning ourselves as Canada's Golf Island has been a strong point. I like to say we're an overnight success that took 40 years to come, so it started in the 80s as a small group to attract tourists to PEI to golf, but it's become into kind of a powerhouse in golf tourism that is, there's a lot, as a best practices thing across the country. A lot of people like to call me and ask what our secret sauce is, but a lot of it is just that PEI is so special, and we have a lot of great golf options. So today's overview, we'll touch on a little bit on Golf PEI's success, just to kind of give you context of why I'm here today, economic impact, what it actually generates, the tax revenue through that economic study, and then I kind of put some local context on it just for Summerside, being that I'm in the city of Summerside today. So all data referenced in this presentation comes from our own internal numbers. We report everything through Golf PEI, and then also a new recent study we've done with Jupia Consultants, David Campbell, who some of you might be familiar with his work, called PEI Golf, a vital driver of the island's tourism industry. All this is available on our website, and I can send out links after the fact if you want to dig through the report. But I've tried to summarize it because no one has time to read 30 pages on a sunny evening. Here's Golf PEI today, and I don't want to kind of cloud anything or make it seem like I'm throwing too much at you. It's just to kind of give you an idea of where we are. This is Golf PEI's total internal numbers. So that's through vacation bookings, which is tee times and accommodations, plus other excursions, whether it's shuttles or restaurant or ticketed events kind of thing. So that just kind of gives you an idea. And I guess to summarize that in one thing is that the Golf PEI's trends are telling us, it's a really good snapshot of the industry because it tells us that more golfers are coming to PEI than ever before. And when they get here, they're spending more, or playing more, spending more, and staying longer. So I'll go back to that slide just to kind of give you an idea. But we track average length of stay, average booking value, you know, how many rounds are actually booked through Golf PEI's reservation center, number of golfers, et cetera. And to give you context, so our last year's 2025 was 2.6 million. We hit that in early March, and we're up over actually closer to 3.5 million as of today. So, you know, I think you could argue that the U.S.-Canada relations are forcing people to stay in Canada, but we're really capturing that growth as well. So people are choosing PEI as their golf destination. So this is directly from the next few slides are directly from the report, the economic impact study that David Campbell did. So it kind of gives you an idea of the 5-year growth and as well from last year. So total golfers, 70% change. That's, you know, almost 200,000 golfers that weren't here before. Yes, you can argue there's a lot of more people locally that got involved, but if you ask any hotelier across the province or someone with the cottages or Mill River, for example, behind us, there's a lot more people coming from off island. And typically tourists, will spend a lot more when they're visiting these places. So I think if you were to argue any industry that would gladly take 200,000 more people in foot traffic, because there's obviously going to be spin-off with that. Golf industry revenue growth, again, a very high number, 121% growth. Over the 5-year period it covered, and then down below it goes kind of year over year between 2024 and 2025, which is still pretty substantial growth for 1 year, given the momentum of the industry. And then just a little note there that's saying Golf PEI's strongest season ever was last year, 2025, with 15% more paid rounds. And Golf PEI, all of our member courses do report rounds to us, so we have every round since probably 2015 tracked and can do a comparative analysis of that. So. It's coming in a big number. The big number I want to stick with you guys today is that it's 70% increase in total golfers over that 5-year period. So again, that's just not something to throw away. Economic impact from golf alone. So I think as councillors and any politician for that matter, jobs is an important part of economic impact and community growth. So golf was responsible for 600 jobs in total, 521 on the course, and another 79 through indirect and induced spending as well. The total GDP contribution from golf alone was 32.4 million last year, and then the tax revenue from that was 9.2 million. And that kind of, I'll go into it a little deeper, but that's across all levels of government. So again, this is impact of golfing alone before other spending, sorry. Economic impact of the combined picture. So this is golfers plus visitor spending. I will note too that this was very much a lot of the author of the report said it was conservative estimates. Like he wasn't trying to sugarcoat it and make it this smoke and mirrors or anything. It was very conservative estimates. So this is kind of the baseline, I guess you could say. The combined picture was we're claiming that golf is responsible for almost $107 million to the GDP each year. 38.1 million of this is tax revenue across every level of government. And just that last bullet there, that it triples when you counter in off-island spending as a result of the golf industry. I didn't touch on the jobs, but 1,819 jobs. Again, that's direct and induced and indirect. I will note too, I should have been back on this slide, but just on the rounds reporting, I think typically PEI was, July and August, any tourism, not just golf, but yeah, we're busy in July and August and whatever, that's it. But PEI actually led the country in rounds played last September, last year in total, but September we beat the rest of the country. The next nearest was by double digits. So that's not from local players playing more because, teachers go back to school. They're not golfing as much. That's all tourism traffic where that growth was seen. So again, Canada's Gulf Island, we're really much leading on a number of different ways. Where the tax dollars go. So I like to say that golf dollars become public dollars. So we went over it before, but golf industry alone, 9.2 million in tax revenue for all levels of government, 902,000 to municipal, 4.9 to the province, 3.4 to the federal government. And again, that's 600 jobs supported. And then on the other side, 38.1 in tax revenue total, 3.3 million to municipal governments, 22.7 to the province, 12.1 to the federal government, 1,819 jobs supported when you count in visitor spending that is associated with golfing. I don't have to probably repeat it too much, but the tax revenue goes to support important public services, healthcare, roads, mental health, schools, everything like that. I think when you think golf, you think a lot of people might think that it's oh, it's just somewhere that rich people play. Well, no, it's actually going to support a lot more than just people going golfing. It's a major tax driver as well. Summerside in context. So I don't think it's my job to tell council to or to not invest in a golf course. These are just observations on what I see from the golf PEI perspective, but also across the country and industry trends. Every golf course generates impact where it operates. Across the province, the GDP, jobs and tax revenue generated flow to the communities where PEI's courses operate. Obviously, there's much more of that where there's hotels and restaurants and stuff, but the golf course is the key reason, the anchor why people come here. So it's the golf first kind of thing from a tourism perspective. And an observation today that without an operational golf course in Summerside, the city is missing out on an opportunity to capture some of that impact, both economically and socially. So obviously, this presentation is very economic driven, but I think most great communities, there's a golf course as an anchor, a community builder, somewhere where people can gather, where they can, get to know each other a little better and be active at the same time. So that's the social impact's important as well. On market demand, this goes in deeper in the study, but 40% of golf courses in PEI were above 90% capacity in 2025 based on a survey of golf courses through Golf PEI. The industry sweet spot seems to be around 70 to 80%. Most other courses were at or slightly below that. So, that we're showing you the foot traffic numbers and number of rounds played. I don't have to tell you that twice, but if there is and I guess I should also note too on market demand that it's really depends on the community and depends on what you're trying to attract. But that's just what the study revealed and what our members told us. I like to say anytime CBC puts a microphone in front of me about a new golf course, that any investment in any investment in PEI's golf industry is a good investment. I think it's proven through data that it does, drive tax revenue. It drives more, not just economic impact, but social impact. I think if you look to Golf Canada, which focuses more on programming, but they have a whole thing on like the health benefits of golf and why there might be more reason to golf than ever before. And I also think just, kids growing up that the golf is the best sport to get involved in because it's from camaraderie, from etiquette to making friends for life. So I'll leave it at that. Happy to answer any questions. I know that was pretty quick, but I think short and sweet to get to questions is a little more important than me blabbing on for an hour. So thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Are there any questions from members of council? I've got a couple quick ones there, Sam. You mentioned that the sport is growing. How is it growing? Who's playing more golf?
So we track, obviously the guests through Golf PEI tend to be an older demographic because it's people with, buying golf packages. But I think if you look to local golf courses around, it's introduced more in schools now. When I grew up playing and working at Clyde River Golf Club, there was never, 20-something-year-old women's going out in large groups and having fun and making it their social outing. Now, certain golf courses you go to, that's exactly who's there. So I think it's not just, let's say historically it'd be young men who are at private clubs or country clubs that just play for life. Now it's people getting involved and never really stopping. I'll tell a quick story about people kind of getting back involved in it. So a cousin of mine who would be, a six-figure out of federal government job, golfed when he was a kid, life happened. He grew up per se, had kids, work was hard. But then through COVID, got back involved. And he's so committed to golf now that he missed my grandmother's 81st birthday. So I think that's the kind of person that we're seeing. They're getting so committed to golf. You're seeing it everywhere. It's not just when you're watching the Masters on Sunday with your dad on CBS. You're seeing golf everywhere. I'm sure if any of you picked up your phone and went to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, if you scrolled long enough, you'd see golf-related content. Brands want involved in golf because they know it's this growing demographic where there's people more engaged than ever before. So I think it's almost like when you go to a really good restaurant, it's not so much about, you know, getting there the first time, it's getting them to come back, and that's what golf's doing a very good job of, is capturing that and keeping people involved longer.
Other questions from council? Hearing none. Sam, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the information and for offering to share the Mr. Campbell's report as well from Golf PEI. And maybe we can do that, Sandra, with council and make that available as well internally. And if you're able to stick around as well in case there are further questions
Sure,
following
yeah,
the
no problem.
presentation, that might be really helpful. Great.
So,
Thank
not
you.
sure if you're welcoming up the next group.
Yeah, you know, I'll welcome up.
Sounds
Sure,
good.
sure. I'll thank you, Sam, and I'll welcome up Don McDougall from Mill River to introduce his team and the presentation from Joffrey Irving.
Warm up. Your Worship, councillors, as some of you know, I came here as a 20-year-old to teach high school, and then I was away for a long time, and then I came back, work at chair of the Summer Park redevelopment. But since then, I've been a little bit distant from Summerside, and I feel quite overexposed to me. We were here a week ago, I guess, and then Derek roped me in to pinch hit for Mr. Irving on Friday, which was a delightful experience. And I'm kind of getting the Summerside bug all of a sudden. And I'm really very pleased that we have this opportunity to share with you an opportunity that we are excited about. That goes without saying. And our purpose tonight is to persuade you to be excited about it as well. We think it is a win-win-win for all that are involved. I thank Sam for his macro, if you will, presentation, which is really the foundation on which all of this is built, and also for your good work for the Golf PEI. But I think what we should do is, Joffrey, those of you who might have been there on Friday know that if I've got any skill, is to delegate. And I've got Joffrey here to make sure he takes us through the presentation, and then we'll entertain whatever questions you have. Thank you.
Thanks, Don, and appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. Working now? There we go. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm going to just guide you through a short presentation on the project in response to the request for expressions of interest, a little bit about Mill River Resort and our golf team, and how we see this project moving forward. So first and foremost, the opportunity we have before us is to establish a premier public golf facility within the city of Summerside, one that rivals Atlantic Canada's top-tier offerings. We see this as being a community recreation asset, a catalyst for golf and sport tourism, a youth golf development center, something we're very passionate about at Mill River Resort and our Cavendish course of Eagles Glen, a destination that complements PEI's golf offerings, and municipal amenity that enhances the quality of life for the people of Summerside. And the intent here is to be a complement to existing golf offerings, including the one being developed in Linkletter. A little bit about us. You know, we consider ourselves one of Atlantic Canada's premier resort destinations. We're a 4-season operation, with golf being a very important part of our offerings. We have 2 championship 18-hole golf courses, as I mentioned, one at Mill River Resort, one in the heart of Cavendish, Eagles Glen. Combined, they do about 65,000 rounds annually, and that's a mix between member play and green fee play. We staff approximately 200 people in peak season, and our hotel at the resort does about 14,000 room nights plus per season. We've got a great team, which I'll get into a little bit later, with a lot of expertise in agronomy, tournament operations, revenue management, golf tours and packaging, as I mentioned, membership and youth programming, and as well as capital planning and asset management. Just a little bit more about our offerings. As I mentioned, we are a 4-season operation. We have an 81-room resort hotel on site. We also have a 26-unit residential development that some of those units come within our lease program to bring that number up closer to 95 units available. As I mentioned, we've got two championship golf courses. At Mill River Resort, we also have a practice and 3-hole short course, which is great for instruction, and Lori Kane, who's a part of our golf team, frequents that area for golf programming and instructional programs. We also have dining and events at our Callahan Restaurant and Bar, as well as our Hogan Center, Convention Center. We have an aquatic center and spa, and that includes pool, sauna, racket courts, that type of thing. And a couple of newer assets that we have on property that we're pretty proud of. One is the 4-sheet curling club that came online in 2022, and as of 2026, a new turf baseball field, which I'll get into a little bit more. In regards to the West Prince Curling Club, this is a 4-sheet facility that, as I mentioned, was brought online as of 2022. We kind of helped in the facilitation of amalgamating 2 existing clubs, the Maple Leaf Curling Club in O'Larry and the Western Curling Association in Alberton, who were both older clubs with longtime volunteers, and they amalgamated to construct the facility at Mill River Resort, and that was delivered with federal, provincial, and community partners that we assisted with. Our new baseball field, which is part of Don McDougall Park, which is a turf infield baseball field, natural grass outfield. It also encompasses an outdoor walking track, outdoor exercise stations, playgrounds, pitching cages, and something that we're very proud of, and has been very popular so far in summer 2026. And as far as resort investments, since Mr. McDougall took over in January of 2017, there's been about $25 million of investment into the property, with a mix of resort renovation, the acquisition of Eagles Glen Golf Course, residential and commercial developments, as well as some additional amenities other than what's mentioned here. You know, we are continuing to grow. So when we talk about the product or what we're trying to achieve, we're very excited at the prospect of developing a course in the city of Summerside. This is, as the title says, a links-style vision, a links-style golf course. And for those who don't know, a links-style golf course is the oldest, most traditional style of golf, built on natural, kind of sandy coastal settings. Links style is known for windy conditions, which we have no shortage of here in Prince Edward Island. Rolling terrain and bunkers, deep bunkers to challenge players, which is a pretty fun product to play. When we look at the proposed site, we are looking at approximately 240 acres located in North St. Eleanor's, which would be just east of Slumma Park. It's set along the Compton Road and Lyle Road with fantastic views of world-renowned Malpeque Bay. Approximately 120 acres is owned by the City of Summerside, which I'll zoom in here shortly, with approximately 120 acres being owned privately. Just kind of zooming in there a little bit, we've kind of narrowed into these three PID numbers. PID number 401-893 and 70581 are owned by the City of Summerside, with 62059 being privately owned, in which we have a purchase and sale agreement submitted to purchase that 120 acres of property. We, with consultation of our golf course architect, Doug Carrick, he determined that this was, very good land to develop the product that we're talking about. For anybody that's been out there, there are some pretty fantastic views of Malpeque Bay. This is kind of the most recent conceptual design of what we're calling the links at Malpeque Bay. It's a 18-hole golf course, par 72, just under 6,800 yards, which would be comparable to a lot of courses in Prince Edward Island, which is, as I mentioned, assembled from the City of Summerside and privately owned parcels. As you can see, the map or the design there doesn't really show the water, but for anybody that's familiar with the area, you can quickly see that there's going to be some pretty spectacular views from the majority of the golf course, which is great. Now, when it comes to the structure that makes this achievable, as everybody knows, the cost to build golf courses is quite significant. We anticipate with some work from Chris Wallace, who's a part of our team, sitting next to Don behind us. We've pulled together some construction costs, and it looks like it's going to be an approximate $12 million capital cost to develop the golf and golf-related amenities. What we're proposing is a long-term lease of the city lands, the 120 acres, for a low price. And from there, Mill River would invest 50%, so approximately $6 million of the capital cost. And from there, we would work creatively with the City of Summerside and our federal and provincial partners to try to come up with a balance of the project costs. Any public funding shortfall would be bridged by borrowing, which we would hope to receive from the city at the cost of funds, and that would be offset by lease payments and or increased tax revenue. Mill River would build the course, take responsibility for any overruns in the course construction, and the operations would be integrated with Mill River and Eagles Glen for maximum efficiency and a 3-course golf offering. We see this as being a partnership that really minimizes city risk. So our Mill River Resort team would propose to provide project financing and capital investment, development and construction management, day-to-day golf operations and agronomy, marketing, tourism and event programming, and long-term asset management. And the City of Summerside would hopefully gain a premier public golf amenity, minimal financial risk and exposure, a new tourism and economic driver for tourism and economic activity, affordable community recreation, which is very important, and the creation of local jobs and tax revenue. And just a little bit about the team that we've assembled to help with the development of this project. Obviously, Mr. Don McDougall, as I mentioned, he purchased Mill River back in 2017 and has been our guide through the significant development that we've seen over the last almost 10 years. I've been with Mill River since the fall of 2016, just before the sale or the transaction took place, and have been president since 2019. Very, very proud of the team that we've assembled. Next is Chris Wallace, who's sitting behind me. 30 plus years in golf course construction, agronomy, and operations across Canada, from Big Sky Golf Club, which is in Pemberton, BC, to the Links at Brunello, which is just outside Halifax, and his experience spanning the full life cycle of golf facility development. Somehow we were able to twist his arm and get him to agree to join our team back in late 2022, just before we took on Eagles Glen, and he moved into our COO position last year, and is a huge asset. Sean Joyce, who is Class A PGA of Canada professional, joined us in 2019 as our Director of Golf. Sean has been across Canada as well, working in different golf roles. He's the former Executive Director and Provincial Coach of PEI Golf Association, 2019 PGA of Canada Atlantic Zone Coach of the Year. He leads golf sales, tourism, and destination marketing for both resort courses as our Director of Sales, Events, and Partnerships. Sean is extremely passionate about youth and youth golf. As you can see from his coaching experience, he was a catalyst in kind of developing our junior programs, which he has built a great staff to grow those. So we're very proud of that. And last but not least, just as famous as Mr. McDougall, is Laurie Kane, LPGA golfer. She joined us back in late 2018, early 2019 as our ambassador of golf. Her resume kind of speaks for herself with her success on the LPGA Tour. Laurie isn't playing competitively as much as of late, which selfishly is good for us because we have her around the resort more. And she's also been a huge contributor to our golf programming. So when we vision this course, down the road, we see it obviously as a public golf course that stays accessible while being financially sustainable without sacrificing community access. As I mentioned earlier, we see this as being a top-tier golf course that can rival, most courses, if not all courses in Atlantic Canada. With that, there may come a green fee price, but we are very committed to our members. I think if you were to ask, we would be one of the more member-focused golf providers in the province, and we really believe in not only developing a good product, but also ensuring that the members have access to that product. So looking forward at this, obviously we would see affordable resident access for all golfers, whether it's beginner, experienced, or family. As I talked about before, we're very passionate about our junior golf in the way of junior golf memberships and school and junior development. 2 of our Class A professionals are certified in the First Tee program, which they're one of the only ones in PEI, and of 2 of very few in the Maritimes. In the off season, they travel around to elementary and junior high schools, introducing kids to the sport of golf, and then conduct junior programming throughout the summer to keep juniors interested and to hopefully grow our future in the game of golf. You know, we would hope that this would be part of a 3-course membership to give people lots of access to golf courses. Summerside is a natural bridge between our Cavendish course and Mill River, and we see that as being almost a mini golf trail. And obviously we want this to be a financially sustainable project. Looking at next steps, some short term, some long term, but in the short term, we're an aggressive group, so we would, you know, if everything worked out well, we would like to see construction start in the fall of 2026. Between now and then, we would need to do some further design reviews. As I mentioned, our golf course architect is Doug Carrick. One of his most recent projects is the new 18-hole golf course at Fox Harbour. He's also designed and helped build multiple golf courses in Ontario, as well as Predator Ridge in British Columbia. From there, obviously, we'd need to take a deep dive into budgeting and funding, construction timelines, doing a bit of a work back schedule from what we would hope as being a playable course in the spring of 2028 to when we would hope to start construction in the fall of 2026. Firm up the land transaction. As I mentioned, we have a purchase and sale agreement in front of the private landowners, and we hope to finalize that shortly. Speak to our federal and provincial partners, both MP Morrissey and the Premier's office in regards to making this structure work. Engaging with our watershed groups and Department of Environment. Chris actually had a conversation yesterday with a lady from Bedek Bay Environmental Management Association and discussed you know, wetland conservation as well as birding colonies. So we've gotten a jump on that, and obviously we need to consult with the Department of Environment moving forward. With that, that's all I have to present within the deck, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Joffrey. I'll open the floor to Councillor Adams. Question 2.
Thank you. Joffrey, I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
So on slide 9, yeah, and then number 3. No, sorry, slide 9.
Oh, sorry.
Like 9.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. 3.
Yeah.
So can you sort of just explain that?
Sure. Yeah.
Just dumb it down for me. Just
No problem at all. It's pretty broad at this point, but you know, we've had conversations with federal government, provincial government. You know, most of which are, or all of which are supportive of a project. And what we'd be looking to do is to work with the City of Summerside to see if we could get some development funding through the different forms of government to help with 50% of the development cost of the golf. I don't exactly have the breakdown of what that might look like today, and it's certainly going to take some work and creative thinking, but that's kind of the concept that we have envisioned. Now, if there was any, you know, we're proposing $6 million. If there was any shortfall in that, let's say that between the 3 contributors, you know, it came to $5 million. There was a $1 million shortfall, and we needed the $12 million for the project. Then we would be proposing to get a loan, hopefully from the City of Summerside, to offset that, in which we would pay the cost of borrowing on that. So that's, and that would be through, you know, obviously a repayment program and or tax revenue, just depending on how the project lines up. But
and that would just be if there's a funding shortfall.
That's correct. Yeah, the loan would only be if there was a public funding shortfall.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about, just one more, and what about like infrastructure costs? Like what about getting like tying into, like what's close by that we would be tying into for water and sewer and so on? Like, is that something that's been looked at, like?
Good question.
Cost of that?
There seems to be a couple of options. I'll be honest, we're probably not that far down the road yet, but that's part of the discovery phase, is kind of seeing what we can tap into there and what's required in order to develop that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Your Worship. First, I really like the name, the Links of Malpeque Bay. I think that's neat. But how many junior golfers do you have at Eagles Glen and Mill River currently, roughly?
So we have a dual membership between the two. I believe between our junior golf and our U30, which we kind of categorize within our younger group, we have approximately 200. Just a quick story on that, and just kind of to illustrate the growth in that demographic. I had a conversation last summer with our former head pro, Mark Roberts, and we were talking about the growth in, sorry, is that me? We were talking about the growth in the U30 market and how great it was. And I asked him, I said, how many U30 members did we have the last year we were working at Mill River, which was 2018? And he had 25. And as of last year, which was 2025, there was 172. I think it was 175, one or the other. So huge increase in that U30 market, which is great to see.
Yeah, that's okay. The other question I have is, obviously the golf. I enjoy golf. Not very good at it, but I do love the golf. I see the other benefits around it, and I know you're doing some of your existing golf courses, some other development type stuff around the property.
Yep.
Is that something you envision? I just envision Summerside, we've sort of went as far as we can to this coast, and when you look out and expansion within the city, that's a natural way for us to grow our city. So just thoughts, comments around that, and
Sure.
what you foresee or could imagine?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, ideally, we would love to see developments out and around. At this point, you know, we're certainly focused in on the golf and the golf product, and there's lots of land surrounding that, and we think that there's great opportunity for future residential developments, you know, other amenities in and around that area. But certainly golf is going to be the kind of anchor to that development out there. But yes, long story short is we certainly see some sort of development out there in the future.
And last one, but just to clarify, you've already had some informal or formal conversations with provincial and feds, and they seem somewhat supportive
They do,
of
yeah.
the concept.
Yeah,
Let's say.
I mean, I think I can thank Sam behind us because when they look at the data, it really speaks for itself. And they see the growth in golf. Obviously, they see Summerside as a city without a golf course right now. I think I've mentioned it before, and I think it catches a lot of people by surprise. But when you look at the population of Prince Edward Islands, it's roughly 180,000. You know, 110,000 of those are in Queens County, where the majority of the 18-hole golf courses are. In Kings County, there's approximately 20,000 people. They've got 4 18-hole golf courses. In Prince County, including Summerside, you know, we have approximately 50,000 people, and we currently have 1 18-hole golf course. And what's been proven time and time again, no matter where you look, is that golf really works in clusters. And that's why we're so confident that, you know, a product within the city of Summerside can help kind of bridge the gap between Western PEI and, you know, where the closest golf currently is, which is in Cavendish. So yeah, you know, when you explain that to our elected officials, they certainly get that, and they do seem to be very optimistic that this could be something that works.
Okay, one last question, because
Yeah,
you
sure.
just when you mentioned something that jogged my mind. So obviously, there is another golf course currently under development in the city.
Yep.
In your opinion, Summerside could handle two, Western PEI could handle two. If clusters work, then in theory that should work really well, especially for the city. But just your thoughts
Sure.
quickly on that, and then
My quick
I'm
thoughts are-
officially done.
No question. I certainly think that Summerside can benefit from two golf courses. Prince County can benefit from two golf courses within the city of Summerside. It's, golf works in clusters. And when we see the demand right now, I mean, it's anybody that golfs, can be challenging to get on the golf course. And we see more inventory as being a good thing. We had conversations when we talk about a top tier golf course, obviously the courses that come to mind are Cabot, Fox Arbor. Cabot is in Inverness, Cape Breton, and Fox Arbor is in, I don't even know, Wallace, Nova Scotia. So, they're premier golf courses that people are traveling to that aren't close to major city centers like the city of Summerside. So it's, those courses thrive. So we definitely see this as, not only working, but complementing the existing course under development.
I know early stages, but I know you also want to probably get things kicked off. So I know Councillor Adams mentioned infrastructure, and this might be an internal question, but water, sewer, would that be something that maybe we might be able to contribute in to offset the construction cost? Like if it comes to the city being requested to contribute something, could we consider contributing work or underground or whatever in lieu of an actual, check?
From our standpoint, we'd certainly see that as being a huge benefit. But like you said, that might be more of an internal question.
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't underestimate the opportunity for creativity around that additional $6 million. For example, even in discussion so far, nobody has mentioned the new national park. When you talk to the feds, it's the first thing they bring up. What we're talking about is right on the new national park. Their projections, which some of us have become more and more convinced about, thought they were smoking pot at the beginning, but are becoming more convinced about, is they're talking 100,000 tourists a year. You don't have to think very long to think if we're going to have 100,000 tourists a year between Northport and Malpeque, what that's going to do to the city of Summerside, what it's going to do to hotel, food and beverage, recreation of all types. So I think at this stage, what we are looking at is moving to the step of working with the city, coming up with creative ideas, some of them being offsetting infrastructure costs, that's for sure, but there's nothing to, there's a fairly big budget in the national parks. There's nothing to stop them if they see this as important to making it a success for us to make a pitch. All I'm saying is I think we should be careful not to think that we're narrowed down to what we know. We need some creativity and dialogue, and the good piece I can honestly say right now is so far we're all aligned, the feds, the province, our city, and ourselves so far, to move the thing forward. And in my experience, that's usually the premise on which things do get done.
Any further questions, comments from council? Just as well to update members of the public here. So we are at the stage now where direction has been given to staff to work with the Mill River Group to bring forward ultimately to council and to potential other partners some of the specifics, and we'll continue to work through those details and certainly encourage the group to work with staff to get to that stage. Tonight is not just again for members of the public who are here and joining us, tonight is not the vote or tonight is the sharing of the response to the request for expressions of interest, the sharing of the hope and the opportunity, and the desire for everyone to try and get to a really positive solution that could deliver some significant benefits to our community. I'm just going to speak really briefly about, and they were touched on both in the presentation, they were touched on by questions from members of council. When we're looking to benefit the people that we share this place with and this city with, we're ultimately trying to do a few things in a single package. And so we're always looking to put those packages together. We're looking to have a social impact, one that can benefit young people, one that can benefit older adults, one that can get people out and outside and healthy and connected in their community. One that can be used to recruit and attract people we need and support the people that we have here. We're also looking to create economic opportunity. We know that wealth brings opportunity, and that does not necessarily come from government. That comes from creating things and creating places and spaces. And the long-term economic impact of something like this could be incredibly significant for Summerside and for the broader Prince County region and for Prince Edward Island. It does also help keep PEI on the map as Canada's Gulf destination. And I look at the number, the $107 million of GDP impact, and I do sit back and think we're in a little bit of a black hole here in Summerside. And I think the residents of this community would benefit from playing a larger part in that opportunity and contributing to help grow it. And then the last, I think, is just Summerside is known for a number of different things. I think for sometimes being a little rough around the edges, sometimes using our own hands to shape our own destiny. But one of the things that we're really known for is our sports, entertainment, and tourism sector. And this city, years ago, began a journey and has made significant investments over the years to build and sustain sports and tourism infrastructure. And that has benefited our community in both social ways and economic ways. When the Ray Carter Cup is here, when is it here? Next week? There are going to be people traveling, hundreds and thousands of people traveling from across this country come to Summerside to participate in events like that. Their families come, their coaches come, the players come, their supporters come. They spend money, but they also get connected to this island and to this place. And then what happens is then when they go, the people of our community get to use the ball fields, those curling rinks, the dome, our credit union place, all of those things that help shape and build our community as well. And in a lot of ways, I see this as a natural fit to something that we're already doing well. So if we can have a social impact that is positive for our community, one that can have a positive economic impact, and it is something that we already know how to do well, it gets me excited by the possibility in the future. So I really want to thank you all. I'd like to thank as well, I've spoken as well to counterparts at other levels of government for their interest. It's a really exciting time here in Summerside. We can have a cluster, and another reason is, I think Lori Kane said, to turn left at the bridge. So thank you very much for the presentation, everyone. You council, we'll continue, and if you can stay for the rest of it, if you want to talk here on the zoning applications, and we've got one animal control bylaw, you're welcome to stay for all of that, but we won't be offended if you're ready to leave. We'll now move into item 5, which is appointment to committees. There are no appointments to committees this evening, and we'll move to item 6, introduction and reading of bylaws and resolutions. Before we do that as well, I just want to take a quick note. I did have messages both from Councillor McColman, who has a family matter this evening, and from Councillor McDougall, who's unable to be with us. Councillor McDougall, as members of the public may know, is the president of the Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities, and Councillor McDougall has duties and responsibilities with that role this evening as part of the Council Federation meetings. So I would like to hand it over to our dependable Chair of Planning Board, Councillor Doiron. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. First item this evening for myself is an application for a official plan and zoning amendment for 150 Summer Street. The background, an application was received from the Real Us Complete Services 2021 Inc. on behalf of the property owner Moses Funeral Home Limited for PID number 311290 to amend the official plan future land use map from commercial and residential land uses to institutional land use, and to amend the zoning bylaws zoning map from neighborhood commercial C3 and medium density residential R3 zones to institutional I zone. The purpose of the zoning amendment is to allow the Real Us Complete Services Inc. to operate a day program for adults with disabilities. The property had an approved restricted use to allow the former funeral home use. The application was advertised in the July 6th and 7th editions of The Guardian, and letters were mailed to property owners within 100 meters or 328 feet of the subject property. The explanation of the process. In order to process an official plan and zoning bylaw amendment, the following steps are required. Step 1, council holds a public meeting inviting the applicant and members of the public to make comments. Step 2, the zoning bylaw amendment is read a first time and declared as read at a first council meeting. Step 3, the zoning bylaw amendment is referred to planning board for review and recommendation. Steps 1 to 3 take place at the same meeting of council, which is taking place this evening. Step 4, planning board reviews the application and prepares a recommendation to council, and that takes place at a planning board meeting. Step 5, the zoning bylaw amendment is read a second time and declared as read at a second council meeting. Step 6, the official plan amendment is read to be adopted by council. The resolution will be either carried or defeated by vote of council. If the official plan amendment is adopted by council, it is sent to the Minister of Housing, Land and Communities for signature, and the amendment becomes official. If the official plan amendment is defeated, the zoning bylaw amendment will be defeated as well, as the zoning amendment cannot contradict the official plan amendment. And step 7, the zoning bylaw amendment is read to be adopted by council. The resolution will be either carried or defeated by vote of council. If the zoning bylaw amendment is adopted by council, it is sent to the Minister of Housing, Land and Communities for signature, and the amendment becomes official. Steps 5 to 7 take place at council's second meeting. Please note that in accordance with section 5.20 of the city zoning bylaw, any person who is dissatisfied by a decision of council in respect of the administration of this bylaw may appeal council's decision within 21 days to the Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission. So comments and questions, there are two parts. The first part, we would invite the applicant to make any comments or presentations if they do so desire, and this is the time to do that if you would so like to. What? Oh yes, if you don't mind, just before you speak, just let us know your name for the minutes, and then later you can just give Sandra your address. But just need your names for the minutes, and Aaron has. Oh yeah, we're just waiting for the microphone to be activated, and then we'll start over.
Yep.
There. Okay. If you don't mind, just stating your names one more time, and we'll carry on.
Tracy Arsenal and Lindsay Hollett. Hello, everyone. We are Lindsay and Tracy, and we run the Real Us Complete Services. Today, we are requesting approval to operate our day program at 150 Summer Street, Summer Street, Summerside. Our organization provides daytime support services for adults with disabilities, focusing on life skills, community inclusion, independence, and meaningful daily activities in a safe and supportive environment.
We have 10 staff and 45 clients right now. We started out with 2 5 years ago.
Our first location was at Central Street Church, and we moved from there 3 years ago into Trinity United Church, where we've been since.
In the basement, so this brought great opportunity to be above ground.
Yeah. We believe that this location will allow us to better meet the growing needs of the individuals and families we serve while being a positive addition to the community. And we respectfully request your review and approval of our proposed use of this property to be rezoned to institutional and would appreciate any guidance regarding the next steps in the process. Thank you for your time and consideration, and we welcome any questions.
Okay, any questions from council? Councillor Adams.
Just a quick one. So how many clients do you have daily?
Right now, it's 45.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 45
Yeah,
with the
and
space
that
that,
varies because some are part-time, so.
yeah, okay.
Some come Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I forgot to mention, we're open 7:30 to 4:30 PM, Monday to Friday.
Okay, okay. So, thank you.
Councillor Cameron.
With the current 45 clients that you have, if given more space, would you be taking on more clients? Or is that like a staffing issue that you wouldn't have staff to take on more clients? Or is there a
No.
need for more clients?
We have a waiting list of clientele.
Oh, go ahead.
And roughly like how long would that waiting list be? Like how many people would that waiting list entail, roughly?
20?
Clientele? No, right now it's 6, because it comes out of the school systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Councillor Cameron asked my question, I guess, in terms of how much, the waiting list, because I was curious in terms of the need. So thank you, it's been
The need
answered.
is Plenty.
Yeah, it seems to be, thank you.
And with our bigger location, we can support up to at least 80 people.
I have a question too, maybe two, I guess, depending on how the first question is answered. Obviously, everyone's familiar with Community Connections.
Yes.
We're just wondering how this
It's similar.
programming, it's similar,
similar,
it compares to that,
yeah.
okay.
Very similar.
Okay, and you mentioned the hours, it's not an overnight,
It's not overnight, it's
residential
7:30,
type
yeah.
thing? Yeah, okay.
It's 7:30 to help the parents whenever they're working. Some go to work at 8, they need to, so we're there for them, 7:30.
Great. Now, we would invite the public, if the public has any questions or comments, and just to note, if you don't mind sort of staying handy in
Yep.
case there's any questions to answer on the microphone.
Okay.
And if there are any questions, just for everyone's knowledge, whether they're here or online, if there's any answers that we can't provide tonight, whether it's from staff or even yourselves, we will make sure to get those answers for the next meeting when the report is submitted. So, if there's anyone here that has any questions or comments, feel free to step forward and again, just make sure you state your name and you can give your neighborhood or your address to Sandra later.
Hi, I'm Michelle Van Vliet. I live at 259 Notre Dame Street. I'm just wondering, I know you said the hours are 7:30 to 4:30, but what are the drop-off and pick-up times? Is it throughout the day, or is it strictly, like, I guess what times are the drop-off and,
Anytime between 7:30 to 4:30, because we have drop-off and pickups.
okay, because I guess I know there's a school, and I know there's a lot of kids walk to school there, and I just am concerned about extra traffic in that area, like what will be done to, I guess,
Same vicinity now, because we're at Trinity United, so we're only a block away, so it's the same.
but they don't drop, like Trinity, you drop off on,
No, we park in the parking lot and we help them across. Our staff is always out there with the clients.
but I guess kids don't walk down that street on the way to school. They do walk on Summer Street up to school. So like you're right across, you're on Summer Street. They'll be in the parking lot?
Yeah,
Okay,
everything is in the parking lot.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Won't be using the side streets at all.
And there will be, when the report comes to the planning board meeting, typically there's a section on traffic and road capacity and volumes of vehicles per day and that type of thing, so. Yeah, if there's anyone,
Can I just,
Councillor Adams.
I just want to, because it was sort of, just so the public could hear, because just.
Yeah, I was
the
just going to
mic
remind
didn't
you to
pick
step
up.
to the mic maybe
So
next
what
time.
you were
for-
saying is like, right now, you park in the Trinity parking lot and they cross over to the Trinity Church facility, but the new proposed one, the parking lot is on the same side as the building, so it wouldn't be a road crossing. Okay, perfect. I didn't know if anybody would be able to hear it at home, so I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa Skierman-Smith. I live on Spring Street. I'm just outside the 100 meters, but it's my neighborhood. So have you already bought the property? Like, has the property been sold? Are you allowed?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Do you mind stepping up to the mic as well
Yeah.
for the answers? I know it's kind of
So
weird with one
I
mic.
have,
but-
I have no issue with, I think it's a wonderful use of the space. We have issue with the rezoning and what can happen from there if it wasn't owned by your group. So if it's zoned currently, you can't operate in the capacity that you want to, or?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I guess my thing is why, sorry, there's history here in my neighborhood with the shelter, and I got bashed for that. But anyway, our neighborhood has changed drastically, and it's not the same as it used to be. So I just don't understand how properties are being sold for a use when they're not zoned properly, and then they come back for rezoning. Because if it's not approved, then what do you do with the space? That's just my comment there. I have concerns with more of the, like, what other social services could be in the neighborhood. Like, if it's rezoned, what other social services could be in that building?
It's gonna be us.
So,
Yeah, but if you sold it in 5 years, and it's, do you know what I mean? So it's not, I think it's a wonderful use of the space, I really do. I just worry about the rezoning. Yeah.
We're not planning on leaving for a long, long time.
Okay.
And we cleaned up the front where people were living,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
nice to see, yeah. But I do, and I know others have issue, and I'll let someone else speak about it, yeah.
And we can provide the uses for the I zone for the, during the planning report too, all of the allowed uses. Oh, I didn't go down far enough. Actually, that's coming. Sorry, the uses is coming after the, I'll go through them, yeah. Sorry, sometimes they're included in a different order, so no, they're here. I'll go through them
Hi,
after the comments.
Linda Skierman, and I'm at 141 Summer Street, just across the road. Yeah, I guess I have a similar question. I'm struggling with the I-zone discretionary uses verbiage here, where it mentions emergency services facility, jail, correctional center, research laboratory, solar energy connector, and a utility facility. And I don't know how that ties in with the community care home and why that is being requested. So I don't know if anyone can address that.
I can try to help answer just so we get some clarity here. So if you can slide up there, Sandra, a tiny bit. As I understand, the application is looking for a change in zoning to institutional zone, which is I. The permitted uses are listed out there: accessory building, community center, government office, school, post-secondary, place of worship, cultural interpretive, cemetery, school premises, public library, museum, gallery, hospital, child care center. The residential uses also set out there: a nursing care facility, community care and nursing home, and social services agency. If you scroll down, Sandra, it moves into discretionary uses. So in each one of the zones, there are permitted uses, and then there are also discretionary uses. Anytime anyone wanted to use a discretionary use within a zone in the city of Summerside, they would have to come back for a subsequent approval of council. So it is not a use as of right. So if someone wanted to turn that facility down the road, let's say 10 years at any point in time, into a, this one sounds kind of ridiculous, a solar energy collector system, or the one that was an emergency services facility or a correctional center, that would have to come back to council as a discretionary use. The same way as I understand the current use under the current zoning, which I believe is C3, is a discretionary use. So it would not be as of right. It would require subsequent council approval and a similar process to this one. If I'm incorrect, tech services can correct me, or Councillor Doiron, but I think hopefully that clears up that question.
The current use would be a restricted use for the funeral home, not a discretionary use, but yeah, similar.
So what Lisa asked was that you can't just go from one into another. They'd have to, whoever wanted to use it for something different would have to come in and do the same thing that the Real Us is doing now.
Yeah, again, if you can, so the ones that are on the screen here now.
Yeah.
If rezoned, those would be permitted uses.
Yeah.
If we slide down again on the screen, if rezoned, there would be, these are discretionary uses, which, as it said,
That
would be
have to
subject
come,
to
yes.
further council
Yeah.
approval and a similar process
So
to
I'm
this.
thinking ones that, if you go up again, sorry, so the ones not, maybe the social services agency would be one that might be of some concern, but the
Yeah.
others, like, yeah, I know what you were
Yeah,
trying to
so
ask, yeah.
what other, so if it's rezoned and in 5 years they sell the building, and so any other social service agency could buy it and, for example, turn it into a mental health and crisis intervention and addiction treatment center, right? That's my concern, because I've seen what has happened already in that area. I've lived in that area for 50 years, and what has happened in the last 3 or 4, due to some changes, is not great for people that live there. I don't want to walk my dog and see somebody doing drugs in the park. That's not, so it's not, I think it's a wonderful use. I just feel that area with the heritage homes and, people don't really want to live there anymore, and I want that to change, so that's all. Anyway, I think it's a great use of the space, but just feel that it needs to be considered.
Based on what I'm hearing, do we have the ability to, I don't want to say temporary use, or do we have some sort of ability that we can say, yes, they can go ahead based on the current proposed use and revert back if there was ever a sale? Do we have that ability? Because I do agree that sometimes we get into these rezoning issues, and then you look down the road, and I think of a number of properties that we've rezoned or had been rezoned previous to us even being on council, and then all of a sudden they come with their development plans, and it's totally different than why it was rezoned originally. So is there some sort of mechanism in there that we as a council can protect the residents of that area and their concern? Because they are all shaking their heads saying, yeah, we like the proposed use of it, and if that's the proposed use and sale goes through and we're able to meet that function and still give the residents some feeling of security.
That's what happened with the shelter over here, is that it was usually, it used to be used.
Just come to the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I guess that's what happened with the men's shelter, is that it was already zoned to be used as, like, it didn't need to be rezoned because it had been used by Community Connections. So then when they bought it, then it becomes a shelter. So it's that kind of concern, I think. I agree with that, is that, I totally agree with, the proposal is great, but it's, are we going to end up with a shelter, another shelter in the area, like, at some point?
I
can't answer it now, Councillor Snow, but I've noted down your question is, can we have something that's tied to the ability to revert back on potential sales? So we'll investigate that further and include that with the planning review that comes back to us.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Cameron.
I just thinking about what Councillor Snow had said about the potential stipulations around just that business being there if it left. We have done something similar to that in recent years where Simply for Life is. That was all zoned as residential, and we had made the exception to put the Simply for Life in to those units that would resort back if that business was sold, and it was to remain as that. So I don't know if that is the same thing, but it seems very similar, so it seems like it could be something we could do, but like you said, look into it and come back with definitives, and that'd be great.
That's on the new units on Central Street? That's where that is, location?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll look that one up, thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wayne Denman. I live at 131 Summer Street. So I look out my windows and I can see everything that's going on over there. And some of the stuff that's been going on over there over the years in some of the buildings are just horrible. And I've been woken up at night from yelling and screaming in a white building on the corner. And I'm concerned over is there going to be any other buildings, and what type of buildings might they be built if they're going to be building on those on that parking lot or somewhere else?
Are there any plans in your plan to build anything? No. No, they need the parking lot for drop-offs and parking. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Just before we move on, I don't know if we have the, August is kind of a strange month, but, so the next time that we speak on this will be at the planning board meeting when staff will present with their report. August, there is a planning board meeting, and that is typically on the first Tuesday. It'll be at the August council meeting on the 3rd. Okay, August 18th. That's right. We're not having a committee of the whole in August. So August 18th, there will be the planning board meeting and the council meeting. So we have to hear the report and make a decision on the same night.
No, necessarily, maybe push to September.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly one.
Good.
As council knows, she's now going on 4 years ago, we started to make sure that we left space in between each one of the meetings so that residents didn't have a whole bunch of things coming at them one after another and getting a decision on one step and making the next step the same night. So realistically, we'd be looking at, we would look at doing the planning board at August council meeting and then subsequent decision following that same path that we've started a number of years ago in September.
So August 18th would be the planning board, and then the regularly scheduled monthly council meeting in September is when we would make our decision, which is September 15th. Unless there's a special council meeting. But yeah, okay. So and that'll all be posted and published. It can be a confusing timeline of events when it comes to rezonings and planning board related issues, but regardless, we do need resolutions in order to go forward. So the first resolution, presuming there's no other comments or questions, resolution COS 26-038, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron. And it's important to note that this does not necessarily indicate approval or support or otherwise. This is just to get it to the next stage. Whereas an application was received from the Real Us Complete Services 2021 Inc. to rezone PID number 311290 from neighborhood commercial C3 zone and medium density residential R3 zone to institutional I zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw CS 40. Be it resolved that the zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw CS 26-03, file number 0170, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby read a first time. Zoning bylaw amendment Bylaw CS 26-03, file number 0170, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under authority vested in it by Section 18 and Section 19 of the Planning Act, hereby enacts as follows. Short title, 1.1, this bylaw may be cited as the zoning bylaw amendment bylaw, CS 26-03. Amendments, 2.1, that zoning bylaw CS 40, Schedule B zoning map is amended as follows. The zoning for PID number 311290150 Summer Street, shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated as institutional I zone, hereby excluding it from its former designations of neighborhood commercial C3 zone and medium density residential R3 zone. Third, bylaw considerations, 3.1, pursuant to Section 133 of the Municipal Government Act, the CAO or designate is authorized and further required to prepare a consolidation of the City of Summerside's zoning bylaw, CS 40, and all amendments made heretofore. I've never seen that word before, heretofore. So that is resolution COS 26-038, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Councillor. Resolution COS 26-038, moved by Councillor Doiron, seconded by Councillor Cameron's on the floor. Further comments, questions, statements from members of council? Seeing, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is carried. Thank you, council. Thank you, Councillor.
COS 26-039, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Trenholm. Whereas an application was received from the Real Us Complete Services 2021 Inc. to rezone PID number 311290 from neighborhood commercial C3 zone and medium density residential R3 zone to institutional I zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw CS 40. Be it resolved that the city that the zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw CS 26-03, file number 0170, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a first time and approved as being read at this council meeting. Schedule A is identical to the first Schedule A. Must I read it? I will note it and include it in the package and table that. Table it?
No, we won't. No, we
It's
won't.
submit it. Table means skip it.
Yeah, Councillor Doiron is just noting that Schedule A is the same as the previous resolution and should be read in as such. So, resolution COS 26-039, moved by Councillor Doiron, seconded by Councillor Trenholm, on the floor. Questions, statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is carried. Thank you, council. Back to you, councillor.
Finally, resolution COS 26-040, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas an application was received from the Real Us Complete Services 2021 Inc. to rezone PID number 311290 from neighborhood commercial C3 zone and medium density residential R3 zone to institutional I zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw CS 40. And whereas the zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw CS 26-03, file number 0170, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at this council meeting. Be it resolved that the zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw CS 26-03, file number 0170, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby referred back to the planning board for review and recommendation.
Thank you, councillor. Resolution COS 26-040, moved by Councillor Doiron, seconded by Councillor Adams, is on the floor. Any further comments, questions, or statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, before I do that, I actually have a quick question. Question for staff, and perhaps you could return with this as well at the subsequent meeting. Question is that if council were to subsequently amend the definition of social services agency within the zoning bylaw, would that apply retroactively, or would that change apply on the change of the bylaw? Does that make sense? To make it sort of clear, if this is using this as a hypothetical situation, if council were to down the road or 2 months from now change the definition of social services agency, to remove, I think the addictions treatment center, there were a couple of some other language in there. Would the rezoning that had been approved prior to that still be eligible for future use? Does that, and if you're
We'll
trying to
check-
figure out what?
If we can't quite get it, we'll check the minutes and
Yeah, okay, you can ask me, I'll try and explain it better. That's just a question I'd like to just have on there so that comes back as part of the package. So if there's no further comments, questions, statements from members of council, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is carried. Thank you, councillor. Thank you, council. At this point, we'll move on to item 6B, resolution COS 26-041. I think we have Councillor Morrison is still out, and I will hand it back over to you, Councillor Doiron.
Okay, resolution COS 26-041, moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snow. Whereas an application for a major subdivision was received from Enterprise Venture Group, Inc. to subdivide a portion of PID number 71191 into 4 new lots, plus 1 remainder lot for a total of 5, known as 0 Gallant Street, which is Phase 3A of the Key Avenue subdivision, intended for a medium to high density residential development, shown on the preliminary survey plan by Sandstone Surveying and Engineering, drawing number 25298C5, dated June 2nd, 2026. And whereas in accordance with section 3.6 of the Subdivision and Site Development Bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, conformity with the zoning bylaw, the orderly and following nature of the development, physical suitability of the site for the proposed development, including avoidance of natural hazards, undue water runoff, or environmental damage, compatibility of the proposed development with the present and future surrounding patterns of streets, lots, and services, including conformity with any city concept plans, adequacy of the applicant's proposal for traffic circulation, parking, pedestrian access, water supply, sewage disposal, and storm drainage, including the adequacy of city streets and services to handle increased loads, suitability of parkland provisions, impacts on city finances and budgets, proof of conformity with any applicable provincial legislation and regulations, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that council grant preliminary subdivision approval to Enterprise Venture Group's application to subdivide PID number 71191, 0 Gallant Street, Phase 3A of the Key Avenue subdivision, creating 4 new lots and 1 remainder lot for 5 total, intended for middle to high density residential development, subject to the following. 1, the developer shall satisfy all municipal servicing requirements, including A, coordinating their electrical designs with Summerside Electric, and B, addressing stormwater drainage to the city's satisfaction. 2, the developer shall enter into a subdivision construction agreement. 3, the developer has satisfied the parkland dedication requirements, therefore no additional dedication is required. And 4, the developer shall provide information from the relevant authority regarding the emergency helicopter flight path and any height limitations it may create. This bears the recommendation of the planning board meeting held on July 7th, 2026.
Thank you, councillor. And that was moved by and seconded by?
Moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snow.
Great. Resolution COS 26-041, moved by Councillor Doiron, seconded by Deputy Snow, is on the floor. Further questions, comments, statements, discussion from council. Councillor Trenholm.
Sure. I guess if we recall, this is the item that I thought we talked about, that we'd ask and see if an easement could be made on the western end of the property to connect from Gallant Street to, I guess, Walmart. It's not listed there. There's several incidents in terms of conforming with the official plan that talks about statements of policy of council. I'll be very brief, but one is newly developed areas will be diverse, walkable neighborhoods providing convenient access to open space, community service, retail, and employment. That's on page 47. Another statement of policy is again in regards to new streets. We shall ensure that all new street projects and major reconstruction projects provide appropriate right-of-way and safe and convenient movement for all users. Another point here, creating walkable neighborhoods and street, which is page 59. And really specific to North Granville, as this application resides in North Granville. Our official plan is pretty bottom of the line here. Provide convenient pedestrian access to the commercial area from surrounding housing areas. So I see that when we're looking at does this conform with the official plan, I say it doesn't as it is. I say it does if we can add pedestrian access, because in turn what we're doing, we're taking away some pedestrian access that was used by the community. And other matters I think that are relevant, which is also part of what we need to look at, is 2 years ago, a nonprofit group, Safe Summerside, presented in accordance with the police service's 4 years of data to identify that North Granville is the most collision street between pedestrians and cyclists and vehicles in the city. 1/3 of all collisions occur on Granville Street. So thinking that because Granville Street has a sidewalk that it creates a safe avenue for people, I don't believe that. The statistics don't say that. And the fact that this shortcut has been used for as long as I can actually remember, from school children to people with disabilities, just making the route there who live nearby. I would have liked to have seen in what I believe council asked staff to come back with was a way to coordinate that into the recommendation. If you're looking at the width of a sidewalk, which is 1.35 meters, the current side yard of a R4 is 4 meters. So even within that envelope, there's room there to be flexible and putting in a sidewalk to make it work. If you look at the diagrams, you can see the diagram is on a slant. I think it's a 5-unit, but I could be wrong. And so I think there's lots of flexibility there. So I really would have liked that to have come back to council, as I believe council requested. That didn't. So I would say that if we are able to make an amendment here to include that, I guess, easement, to include that pathway, I would be fully supportive and say that it does conform with the official plan, but as it is, to me, it doesn't. So that's my opinion.
Councillor Cameron and then Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I just had kind of maybe two things. One, I just wanted to seek clarification on what exactly you would like to see in that area, because when we spoke last time, my understanding, because I was very supportive of having a walkthrough, my understanding was that it would kind of remain accessible as is, which is currently just they cut the grass and people can walk through there. But then tonight you mentioned a sidewalk, so I'm just trying to see clarification on if you think a sidewalk should go there, a paved path of some sort, or remain as is, as like a grassed kind of right of way that we would ask the developer to just make sure that it was cut, kind of thing. Because I think that's a fair ask. I don't know that it's a fair ask to ask a developer to put a sidewalk behind a building that leads to no other sidewalk, if that makes sense.
So Councillor Adams will come to you next. I'll just let Councillor
yeah,
Trenholm
for sure,
answer,
yeah.
and then maybe we can clarify the question, and then we'll come to you if that's okay,
Yep.
Councillor?
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
Ken?
Oh, sure, yeah. Looking at a sidewalk and accessibility, is that if you have a walker or a wheelchair, it's not, they would struggle with that. However, if I'm okay with making sure that the path is there, that's the do. But if council were so inclined to say, because of accessibility, that there's going to be a number of people accessing that path, that a sidewalk can work, but making it so that it's paved. I mean, sorry, it's cleared. It's grass cut. It's in the winter. It was always snow plowed. That to me makes a lot of sense. So the community is not losing anything, and I would say that there's a gain for the community in having that. So it can be as is, but if council were so inclined to put a sidewalk and who's to pay for it, that can be determined. But an easement, from my understanding, doesn't necessarily mean that a sidewalk's going in. It's just an easement that we would be able to create something.
So, I completely understand what you're saying, but I don't think I agree with it, only because it's private property. And it would be like the city telling me, you have to cut this so people can take a shortcut to go down to the Esso. And I'd be like, well, no. Like, I guess there's a liability thing. Like, I mean, people are trespassing now going on it. They don't own it now, and they use it. At any time, the property owner could say, no, you're done. I think we've been very lucky to use it as long as we have. But I think it's a conversation you have to ask the developer or the property owner, obviously, or you would have to ask after it's developed, you'd have to ask the person that buys the property, is this something you'd be willing to look at? But I think it's a huge overstep for us to say that's private property and we're going to use it. Because I don't think it's for the public good when we have accessible means around it. And maybe the accessible means already in place, sidewalks, crosswalks, whatever, maybe we have to look at making something a little bit better and easier for people. But I don't think what's in place now is harder than navigating a grass field in the middle of winter. That's just and I totally get what you're saying, Ken, but I just think it's a huge overstep for us to do that.
Go to Deputy Snell and then the CAOs. So, you just said something, I'm gonna ask the question now. Middle of winter, have we historically been plowing it or providing? Okay, so, I think twofold. I understand what Ken is saying, and I think it's a natural shortcut that people, that people utilize. But again, I do agree with Councillor Adams that we have to be very careful when we have developers that own the land, and it is their land, what we say. Would I like to see a path there that doesn't negatively impact the development? Do we have the layout of the development by chance that we can see again? I know it was presented before, but I just, when we talk about having 5 lots and it might seem like, well, it's just a path, but if you're taking pieces of people's lots, that might change the development plans, it might change what they can do there. There's just a lot of questions when we're saying, let's do this, so it's difficult. I think if, 2 things, we'd either have to talk to the current owner of the land, maybe there's a commercial property on the other side, maybe they would be willing to give up some, maybe there's something to be done there. And then I also think if we were really serious about it, we actually have to do it in a correct way and not just have a path that's just a path, and make sure we're protecting the property owners there as well that we're trying to work with, or would have to work with to get access through there. So I just think there's a lot more work than just saying can keep that path there, although it is well utilized, there's no doubt about it. But then if it's not plowed in the winter, then how do they utilize it in the winter, and how accessible is it? So I think if we're gonna do it, you gotta do it the right way and make sure we follow the steps to get it done with working with the property owners. So it's just comments I had to make.
Yeah, just to answer a couple of questions quickly. Staff did take the conditions that were in the minutes from the last meeting and requested to the developer by email for an easement. The email wasn't responded to. Most members of council attended a subsequent meeting of developers last week where the developer indicated that, and this was in an informal setting, but just for awareness, that the easement would impact future development plans and would limit lot sizes for future development. So just put that out there for information purposes only. I don't have a copy of the plan here tonight, but it certainly can be recirculated to council at a later date.
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe clarify a little bit kind of where I was standing on that, and I kind of go back to Councillor Adams, and I kind of agree with what you were saying. As much as I do think it's there, people use it, it's great. And I mean, I pushed very hard for accessibility at all times. I don't think that pathway, whether you pave it or not, would be a safe, accessible area. I don't think that the getting across the street to the new street is safe and accessible for people. So I don't know why we would try to encourage people with a paved pathway to go to something that isn't currently safe. And my standpoint on it was more so just to like not put it in as a stipulation you have to do it. My standpoint was coming from just a general ask if that is something they're interested in, and if they're not, then we move forward, and there seems like they're not.
Sure, yeah, just I guess a couple points. I guess in terms of it being shoveled or plowed, I mean, whoever it was, they definitely were. I mean, it was it was plowed. That's maybe a moot point. But in terms of it being safe, it may not be safe, but it's the safest. Granville is not. And I've talked about Frank Mellish until my head's almost turned purple. There's no sidewalk, and that's not safe. So, yes, I guess it's private land. My hope would be that the developer would want to work with the city and finding a safer route for the people. I guess I'm hearing that probably is not going to happen. But if I'm looking at pedestrian access, if I'm looking at safety, it impacts both for me negatively. I'm not comfortable pushing pedestrians onto Frank Mellish. I'm not comfortable pushing pedestrians and cyclists onto Granville.
Okay, and I don't see any further comments, questions from council. Thank you, CEO, for responding to the questions that arose. I think all the facts are there, so we can proceed with a vote as long as it's okay with council. So, resolution COS. Make sure I got this one right. 26-041, moved by Councillor Doiron, seconded by Deputy Snow, is on the floor. Any further comments, questions, statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And 1 nay, 4 ayes. The ayes have it. The resolution is carried. 1 nay vote, Councillor Trenholm. Thank you, council. Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to the next item on our agenda. Oh, he's going to get Rick. Okay, good. We'll get Rick. And we will move on to resolution COS 26-042. That will be you, Deputy Snow, but we will wait for Councillor Morrison to return. There he is. He's within earshot, so I think we can continue. Deputy Snow, over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Resolution COS 26-042, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas Section 10.3 of the City of Summerside Workplace Harassment Policy, P-CS-11, provides the establishment of an appeals panel to hear appeals arising under the policy. Be it resolved that Council appoint Councillor Doiron, Councillor McColman, and Councillor Morrison to serve as the appeals panel pursuant to Section 10.3 of the City of Summerside Workplace Harassment Policy, P-CS-11, to hear appeals arising under the policy.
Thank you, Deputy. Resolution COS 26-042, moved by Deputy Snow, seconded by Councillor Adams, is on the floor. Further comments, questions, statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is carried unanimously. Thank you, Deputy Snow. We'll move on to resolution COS 26-043 to Councillor Morrison. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Resolution COS 26-043, moved by Councillor Morrison, second by Deputy Mayor Snow. Whereas the Vulnerable Populations Community Grant has been established to provide financial assistance to nonprofit organizations dedicated to serving vulnerable individuals within the city of Summerside. And whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed the applications received and recommended to Council funding for organizations and community groups to provide food security, meals, and other direct supports to vulnerable members of the community. And whereas the Vulnerable Populations Grant is available to registered nonprofit organizations and may also be used to assist organizations with costs associated with obtaining registered nonprofit status. Be it resolved that Council approve Vulnerable Populations Community Grant funding in the amount of $2,500 each to the following recipients. Connection to Employment PEI to purchase non-perishable food for their Hope Cupboard. 2, Island Pregnancy Center to provide transportation support and evidence-based programming for vulnerable mothers and babies living at Hope House. 3, Salvation Army to provide critical support and services for children, not just during emergencies, but each day through their many community programs and services, such as meal programs. And 4, St. Vincent de Paul to continue providing support to vulnerable populations through their current initiatives of assisting financially with rent, utilities, medical, dental expenses, and household items. This resolution is made upon the recommendation of the Finance Committee meeting held on June 17th, 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Resolution COS 26-043, moved by Councillor Morrison, seconded by Deputy Snow, is on the floor. Further comments, questions, statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is carried. Thank you, council. And we are now moving on to item 6E. Councillor Cameron is going to attend the green room. And I will hand this back over to Deputy Snow.
Thank you, Your Worship. Resolution COS 26-044, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Morrison. Whereas the city received an application pursuant to the Animal Control Bylaw from David, Kenny, and Maria Allen for a permit to keep 10 ducks on property located at 34 McWilliams Drive for the purpose of producing eggs. And whereas the notice requirements of the Animal Control Bylaw were completed, neighboring property owners were provided an opportunity to comment on the application, and the city received objections to the application and no submissions in support. And whereas Council received and considered the report of the bylaw officer, including confirmation that the structure housing the ducks is located on property owned by Curran and Briggs, Inc., and not on the subject property at 34 McWilliams Drive. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council denies the application for the permit to keep 10 ducks at 34 McWilliams Drive pursuant to the Animal Control Bylaw. Be it further resolved that the applicants remove the ducks from the property and comply with the requirements of the Animal Control Bylaw within the time frame specified by the bylaw officer.
Thank you, Deputy Snow. Resolution COS 26-044, moved by Deputy Snow, seconded by Councillor Morrison, is on the floor. Any further comments, questions, statements from members of council? I see Councillor Doiron has his light on, and Councillor Morrison. We'll start with Councillor Doiron.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to ask, not knowing how this is going to go yet, but just due to the fact that we're asking people to remove animals from their property, do we have the ability to oversee or ensure at least that that's done humanely and appropriately?
I don't think we have a specific mechanism, but I would think that our bylaw enforcement officer would request it in a written form when notice is given.
Councillor Morrison, your light's on, but I'm not sure you have a question, do you? On the ducks? No. You just can't even turn the light off. You just really keen to ask question. All right. Further questions, statements from members of council? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by yes. Councillors, no?
Sorry, can you clarify for everybody?
Yes,
supporting and
what
not
they are
supporting?
voting for.
Yeah.
The resolution reads, be it further resolved that the applicants remove the ducks from the property and comply with the requirements of the animal control bylaw within the time frame. A vote in favor is to support that statement, to remove the ducks from the property. A vote against would then be to not remove the ducks from the property or give the bylaw officer that direction. Yeah, no, that is good because we have been down that road before. All right, with that, now call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, the resolution is carried unanimously by council. Thank you, council. We can get Councillor Cameron back. And we can begin department reports. It is 7:25 here on a beautiful, no, I don't know if it's still beautiful out. It looks windy and it's got a little dark, but in my imagination it is still a beautiful evening out. So I'll try and keep the mayor's report relatively short. As members of council know, this we have moved into what I term event season. There are arcs in these roles. We are in peak summer event season, and I've seen many members of council at a series of these events, but I will just touch base on some of the things over the past month. At least events that I've been attending and have done so with a number of members of council that I think are relevant to mention, and some of these will be captured in some of the reports. The Old Fashioned Carnival here in Summerside, another fantastic success. The Tosh Grad, a lovely evening seeing young people in our community walking across the stage, the completion of high school and opening doors to their future. We had Canada Day. It seems like that was a long time ago. Another phenomenal Canada Day in downtown Summerside on Heather Moyse Drive with thousands and thousands of people enjoying each other's company and great music and a fantastic vibe and scene. The Rotary Park Trail Network work was initiated to make the trails in Rotary Park more accessible for members of our community. The council attended the dedication of the tree for the Parkview Seniors Club's 50th anniversary. There were a couple of openings as well, new businesses here in the community, both firehouse subs, which proceed of those sales go to supporting fire departments, and likely like the Summerside Fire Department, as well as the Bogside official opening celebration as part of the Summerside Curling and Marina Complex. There was the Women's Work exhibition at EPTEC that is still on. Councillor Cameron and I were both at that for the opening, and I'd certainly encourage council and members of the public to attend that. The Harbour, there's a series of anniversaries. The 100th anniversary of Royal Canadian Legion was celebrated here at Memorial Park, and with the burying of a time capsule. There was the 150th anniversary of harness racing in Summerside, as was mentioned earlier, 70th anniversary of the Lobster Carnival, which was done in conjunction with harness racing, and that was a fantastic success. And it was the 30th anniversary of the Harbourfront Theatre. Again, another wonderful community event. And the 25th, I think, anniversary, perhaps longer, I didn't write that one down, of C100, so I had to attend some radio stuff for them. And Highland Storm opened as well a couple of weeks ago. Phenomenal show this year. I will put a plug in for it. If you have been to Highland Storm before, this is not the Highland Storm that you have been to before. It is an incredible exploration of Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water, I believe, if I recall, told through song, dance, music, with a wonderful exploration of this place we call Prince Edward Island. A tour of the ice pond with a couple members of council, assessing both the area and the trail network, but also the unfortunate reality of encampments and dangerous fires and paraphernalia that is being left behind in parks and green spaces in our community. And the last year, this has been a almost 4-year project, initiated by the Vice Admiral of the Canadian Navy. The deck gun of the decommissioned HMCS Summerside finally arrived in Summerside, amazingly just in time for the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion, and the deck gun is on Notre Dame Street in front of the Legion. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty impressive, and just another interesting point within our community. So that's a quick little summary. The last piece here that I'm not sure I shared with council, so I will in this context, is the CAO, and I met with CAO of Miscush as well as their deputy, I believe, to talk about our continued conversation with neighboring municipalities for looking for ways that we can better improve shared services to provide better value for all of our residents and taxpayers. And those conversations continue with regional municipalities in and around Summerside. So that's that. Any questions? Everyone knows where to find me. Open office hours Friday morning or any other time by phone or email. So we will continue now to number B, unless any member of council has a question for me. Councillor Morrison? No, you're just getting ready to go. B, it'll be finance, and tonight it'll be Representative Councillor Morrison. Councillor.
Thank you once again. And I'd like to thank Director of Finance, Kristen McDonald, for this report. And I'll read it, I guess, in place of Councillor McDougall, who's not here this evening. So, good evening to my colleagues on City Council and to businesses and residents of the City of Summerside. Our utility accounts receivable overdue balance on July 13th, 2026 has increased from what we reported in June and is the highest we have seen since we started to disclose this information in 2021. The increase is due to amounts owing by telecommunication companies that are delinquent in transferring wiring from electric poles that are to be removed. Disconnections for non-payment are occurring, and 8 accounts that have been disconnected for non-payment have not been reconnected yet, as payment has not been received. Please see the attached tables for the numbers over the last 6 months compared to the same period in 2025. We are continuing to prepare for our annual year-end audit and expect our auditor, Stone Grant Thornton, to come on site in August, and our financial statements will be presented to Council in late September. Our preliminary results project a small surplus for 2025-2026 in the general fund. Per Section 175-1 of the Municipal Government Act, the municipality shall provide the government of PEI with a copy of our audited financial statement and auditor's report no later than October 15th. Our August report will include our first quarter, April to June, results for 2026-2027. We are no longer accepting applications for the Vulnerable Population Grant Program as the 2026-27 budget has been fully allocated. And thank you for the opportunity to present this report, and either myself or more likely the Director of Finance are available to take your questions.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. Any questions from Council? Seeing none at this time, we'll move to Representative for Technical Services, Councillor Doiron. Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. The 2026 construction season is well underway, with most capital projects tendered, awarded, and in progress. Project locations are available on the city's website and will be updated throughout the season. Planning and development staff continue to work with developers on proposed projects and are supporting the implementation of the city's new permitting and development software, which is expected to continue through August. In June, 13 building permits were issued with a construction value of just over $350,000. Year to date, 72 permits have been issued with a total value of approximately $55.3 million. Staff continue to assist developers and residents with projects planned for 2026 and encourage anyone considering a project to contact the department for guidance. And thank you to Aaron McDonald, Director for Tech Services, for preparing the report.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions from Council? I see Councillor Morrison's lights on, but I don't think he's got a question. Thank you, Councillor. We'll move on to Deputy Mayor Snow, Representative Economic Development and Growth. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following is the Department of Economic Development report. This report summarizes economic development activity for July 2026. Key items include continued advancement of major aerospace expansion, opportunity through Invest Canada, Innovation PEI, and ACOA, participation in competitive process led by Invest Canada for 2 additional aerospace investment opportunities, sustained development of the Downtown Grow program, and served 29 clients this month, and continued spousal activity in connection with the physician recruitment. Under the aerospace sector expansion, we met with Invest Canada, Innovation PEI, and ACOA regarding the potential major expansion by a local aerospace company. The meeting focused on advancing the opportunity and identifying the federal and provincial supports available to move the project forward. Aerospace investment competition, we are participating in a competitive process led by Invest Canada involving 2 aerospace investment opportunities that are also being pursued by other jurisdictions. Our focus has been on presenting Summerside's value proposition, including our municipally owned utility infrastructure and established aerospace sector expertise, to position the city favorably in this process. We are hoping to be shortlisted for the next discussion stage. Downtown Grow program, significant time this month was directed to the Downtown Grow program, which will see some of the implementation parts come forward to council in the coming weeks. Physician recruitment, spousal support. We continue to provide spousal support in connection with physician recruitment efforts, including familiarization, there we go, tours of Summerside and networking to support spousal employment opportunities. This work continues in supporting capacity in collaboration with Prince County Hospital and Health PEI. Looking ahead, we anticipate further developments on the Invest Canada-led aerospace investment competition, as well as continued momentum on the local aerospace expansion opportunity. We will report to council as outcomes become available. Prepared by the Office of Economic Development, City of Summerside. This includes the monthly report.
Thank you, Councillor Snow. Further, any questions from council? Hearing none, we'll move to E, Emergency Services and Communications, Representative Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Your Worship. An executive summary from Acting Director of Comms and Events, Tanner Doiron. Communication and Events Department remain focused on delivering timely, transparent, and engaging comms through June, while supporting several major municipal initiatives and community events. The department offers efforts included extensive public information related to Canada Day preparations, municipal service updates, traffic advisories, community programming, and promotional campaigns for Baseball Canada Nationals, Raceway Days, and other city initiatives. Comm staff coordinated messaging platforms for all city departments, the Summerside Police Service, the Summerside Fire Department, and municipal-owned and operated venues such as the Curling and Marina Complex. Resulting in more than 200 social media posts across city platforms and supporting 8 local media inquiries during the reporting period. Beyond daily comms, the department provided on-site operational and promotional support for Noah Dobson Hockey Fest, Staff Appreciation Barbecue Long Service Awards, and Shipwrights Run, and the department continues to play a key role in informing residents, promoting municipal services and events, and enhancing community engagement. And on the back, there's just an appendix with some stats for the posting and monitoring stats for June. So you can take a peek at that. And if there's no questions, I'll just go into fire. And this is, Ken Culleton sent this in, and this is for June 2026 fire reports. During the month, the firefighters responded to 23 calls, 5 medical first responder, and 18 silent alarms. Training, firefighters trained for 212 hours in June. And then there's just on the back as well is the updated for June, the breakdown, more of a breakdown of the SFD fire calls. Everybody's interested in that. And that's all online if anybody at home wants to take a peek. And Summerside Police Service, submitted by Chief Blackyear. June 5th to 7th, Summerside Police participated in the 911 Ride Atlantic, which is an annual event that honors fallen first responders and supports local community events. On June 10th, the Lunch with a Cop event was held, and 4 students from Elm Street had a tour of headquarters along with the lunch with the officers. The annual bike rodeo was held on June 20th. More than 50 bikes were given away, along with more than 50 helmets, locks, and other accessories, and work has been ongoing to begin the online criminal records check, and that was just put out today, right, Tanner? Was that a post on the criminal records check? So you can submit or request those online, and expect to be able to start offering the service before the end of the summer. So that's already gone out. Today, COM sent that out, and yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Any questions from council for Councillor Cameron? Councillor? Oh, you're Adams. I'm looking at Councillor Cameron, and that's why he looked like he was going to ask a question. He was wondering what that guy was talking about. Sorry, Councillor Adams. I was over there and I saw him move. And that's on me. Sorry, Councillor Adams. Great job. Any questions for Councillor Adams? Or Councillor Cameron, I guess, if you're really interested. Get ahead of ourselves. All right, I will call on Councillor Trenholm, representative for Community Services.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Thanks to Robbie Rankin, Acting Director, for this report. Community Service Division remains at its peak summer season. I almost said seasoning. I don't know, I guess I'm hungry right now. Delivering record participation in recreation programs and major community events while maintaining a strong use of municipal facilities. Highlights include the record-breaking Shipyards Run, nearly 10,000 attendees at Canada Day celebrations, successful delivery of Noah Dobson's Hockey Fest, and continued planning for the upcoming Baseball Canada National Championships and the Tri-Lobster Triathlon. Staff have also advanced several capital and maintenance initiatives, which I'm sure everyone's been seeing around the city, which is great, including completion of the Northumberland Street Dog Park, construction of the Fergie Splash Pad, shoreline restoration planning, and extensive maintenance of winter recreation equipment and facilities. Department resources have remained focused on supporting major events while progressing key initiatives projects that enhance recreation opportunities and city assets. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Trenholm. Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll call on Municipal Services Representative, Councillor Morrison. Did I skip one? No, yeah, I did. I skipped Councillor McColeman. She's not here. Is someone going to read it? Councillor Cameron. All right, Governance, HR, and Legal Services Representative, Councillor Cameron, speaking for Councillor McColeman.
Thank you.
Councillor.
You call my name when it's not my turn and skip over me when it is my turn. Thank you to Director Kendra for this report. The current employment postings include swim instructors and lifeguards at the Credit Union Place. The complete competition process is underway for Geographic Information System / Computer Aided Design Foreman and Business Retention and Expansion Officer. We welcome, I don't know if this is supposed to be Leah Montgomery or Montgomery Leah. I for some reason feel like it's Leah Montgomery, but it's written Montgomery Leah. So sorry either way to that. As a semi-skilled laborer to the Municipal Service Department, Dan Rock as the Business Modernization Coordinator at Municipal Services, and Lonnie Lind as Building Officer with Technical Services. And we wish Mike Straw, Building Officer, all the best in his retirement. We welcome Sean Warnell and Jeremy Lundgren as new volunteer firefighters. The Staff Appreciation Barbecue and Longtime Service Award were held in mid-June with over 100 employees attending. Congratulations to the following employees who are recognized with long service awards. So for 10 years, we have Greg Milligan, Mike Harris, and Jeff Mahar. 15 years, Jason McCausland. 20 years, Lori Ellis. 25 years, Greg Goody and Chief Jason Black here. And 30 years, Owen McDonald. And the rest of the report can be found online, and that concludes for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. With that, I'll move on to Representative for Municipal Services, Councillor Morrison. Councillor.
Thank you once again. And I want to thank Director Greg Goody for this report. Public Works, Water and Sewer Utility highlights. Center line painting and shoulder painting is completed for the year. Crosswalk paintings completed at the end of June tallied 122 at 185, so approximately 66%, with next efforts being intersections, lane arrows after the crosswalks are completed. Roadway patching continues, with the final area being the east area of the city from Granville Street to McCune Road, expected to be end of July. The first pass of roadway street cleaning efforts has been completed, and and is now a cycle of maintaining cleanliness of the roadway. Residents should see the sweeper every 3 to 4 weeks in their area. All 4 temporary speed humps have been installed for the season to assist the reduction of speed from vehicles in sensitive areas of the city. Electric utility highlights. Development work is taking the forefront of efforts this summer. The new medical center has been opened on Anna Street. New apartment buildings are being occupied. Winners retail stores being completed, and the Credit Union Place fast vehicle chargers will be completed this month. Lighting installations for the new dog park, the Rotary Park, Cairns Boulevard parking area, and the Lafergie Park splash pad were completed this month. And substation maintenance occurred this month, with all equipment seen as operating normally. The next round of maintenance for the substation will be this fall.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. Any questions for Councillor Morrison? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to Arts and Culture and Diversity Representative, Councillor Cameron. Councillor.
Thank you, and thank you to Director Laurie Ellis for this report that captures some highlights of Culture Summerside's activities from mid-June to mid-July. The 2026 Old Fashioned Carnival was very well attended. Families from all over Summerside and various parts of the island also attended. This community event involves many community members to make the event a success, and all the volunteer base for this event has been growing every year, so thank you so much to all the volunteers. The next 2 points are on the Lobster Carnival and Raceway Days, and it's very small because I think this was written maybe before it happened, and it does not do it justice. It basically just says it's happening, but they kind of blew it out of the park along with all other departments who had participated and all the volunteers. So I think they're trying to be a little bit humble with that one, but they deserve much more credit for that. For the 150th anniversary of harness racing, there are some productions of booklets that are available for an anniversary exhibit. The installation of a new public art piece on the exterior of the Credit Union Place, and a community art project. There is a 150th anniversary booth that will be set up during the Raceway Days also to engage. So if you were around there, hopefully you got to see that, because it was pretty neat to see all the stuff that was involved. The Moe's Family Blacksmith Shop has been moved onto the Wyatt grounds adjacent to the Bishop's Machine Shop Museum. The 184-year-old building has been disassembled, moved, and reassembled on site. The old structure has been located inside the new exterior. The project is moving along well, and all feedback is positive. During this time, there was also the Summerside Arts Festival with the Heritage Properties, Inc. and Culture Summerside partnered once again to deliver the Arts Festival. The 2026 edition was very well received and involved well over 200 artists over a number of events, with many community partners who engaged along the way. And just before we end, I will say that this weekend at the Wyatt Center Cultural Center areas, there's many things going on. On Saturday, there's the Latino Festival. On Sunday, there's the Diversity Festival. And also on Sunday, there's the 3rd Annual Summerside Pride Walk and Community Barbecue.
Fantastic. Any questions for Councillor Cameron? Seeing and hearing none, we will adjourn the public portion of our meeting. We will turn off the YouTube and all the connections, and we'll close the doors, and we'll have one item, I think, on here in camera. So we'll take just a brief 3 to 4 minute recess. Thanks, Council.